Oh, I was so not happy yesterday.
Yeah.
After you guys being like, just so you know, like your microphone is not recording, and I was immediately like, oh no,
Oh no.
oh no.
What have you fucking done to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like, especially after you record something that's really great.
Yes, which in this case, I will hand it to Jess. Like, I did not have the best couple of weeks recently, and I was not in the mood to record ODNF yesterday would be an understatement. Like, I was tired, my voice is blown out. It's still a little blown out today, but yesterday I literally sounded like I was trying to be Batman the whole show. And apparently my wife drinking energy drinks is very helpful for me because she pretty much ran ODNF yesterday, so good for her.
Yeah, that is good.
Hence the immediate tweet after we finished saying, I apologize, I am so manic in this episode.
That's alright.
Yeah.
I don't care, Facebook. Just post it. Just post it. I don't care. Alright, we're live on Mixer. Check
I'm loading up Twitch. Eventually I'm loading up Twitch. But no, wait, no, correction, I'm updating Twitch.
Oh, nice. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. Finally got posted on Facebook. Okay. Okay, I think that's good.
I'm gonna go to sleep, don't mind me.
Moonpier hiding.
Yeah, if I really want to do that, I'd just do this.
Whoop. Oh no, where'd Moonpier go? It's like playing with my kid.
I was just about to say it's like playing with a child.
She's so funny because, like, I'll ask her, you know, I can see her over in the corner, she's making that poop face where she's like, and I'll ask her, like, did you poop in your diaper? And she'll go, no, and then turn around. She thinks that if she can't see me, I can't see her.
What's that? No memory permanence or something like that?
Oh, yeah, object permanence, yeah.
There you go. Wait, if you can't see it, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I was about to make a really great joke, but I can't make it due to things with the laws we have set down with regards to the show. So I will not make that horrific joke I was about to make.
I mean, we haven't started yet, but
I know, but this still goes on the channel. That's
fair.
I did mean to say, by the way, you know how I produce ODNF, you know the methodology I do it. Be prepared to get flagged by Disney. Just saying.
Okay, that's fair. I thought I had something to talk about here at the beginning, and I don't remember it at all.
Let's talk about Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, how'd you like it?
Which I saw last week and I forgot to mention in the pre-show. It's really good. It kind of fits quite nicely with what the Marvel Cinematic Universe needs right now.
Yeah.
Which is a come down from the events of the last movie, shall we say?
A little bit of levity.
Yes, it does a really good job in that. It's always hilarious watching a movie about ants with my wife.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Nope. So it's a good watch. Very surprised by the performance of Lady from Lost because I don't think I've ever seen her in anything I enjoyed her in.
Okay.
I did not like her in the first Ant-Man. I don't like her in Lost. I don't like her. She didn't
really have much of a role in the first one, other than clearly being the Wasp later.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her in... I never watched Lost, so I don't think I've ever seen her in... Was Evangeline Lilly?
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she did really well, really well. Yeah. Ghost might be one of my favorite characters I've never ever heard of before.
Yeah.
She's really kind of cool. And in this movie, she reminds me of Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, nice.
I'm always up for more characters like that.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to see someone like that. But it was fun. It was surprisingly fun. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did.
I think with the second one coming out, I'm surprised at how many people I follow on Twitter that are like, yeah, I didn't like the first Ant-Man. It's just like, that's surprising.
It could also be a case of, like, I think Mackie from BMF Cast has this approach as well, where he likes smaller scale movies.
Yeah.
Like, not every Marvel movie has to be an end of the world thing, because essentially they all are. And at some point, what do you turn around and say? Well, Thor didn't like, it gets brought up in Infinity War. Why didn't Thor contact the Avengers when Ragnarok was going on?
Oh, right.
It gets brought up during the movie. Why didn't Tony Stark or Doctor Strange contact any of the other Avengers when their stuff was going on?
Yeah.
So the fact that Ant-Man was a very tight, compact, like, singular story was actually really cool for me, and Ant-Man and Wasp is kind of the same, and I do like the fact that they can take it down a level to something that's very, very personal, and it's not an end of the world discussion anymore.
And I have always found Paul Rudd incredibly funny.
The funny thing is I have not seen many of his movies. He was on Friends, I believe, and I liked him in Friends, and I liked him in the first Ant-Man, but I've not really seen a lot with him in.
Have you seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Nope.
Okay, he's really good in that. That's probably one of my favorites. He's like this totally burnt out surfing instructor on the island that they're on.
Sorry, I had a banging noise coming from the window with the AC unit that's kind of balanced in there.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned.
Brain Eater in chat says, I can't stand Paul Rudd. As someone who likes Paul Rudd, I can totally understand it.
Yes, I do not like that guy that everybody seems to love. Step Brothers.
Oh, God.
He's the white-haired guy in the fashion movie. Yes, that guy.
Why am I not remembering his name? Wikipedia, Zoolander.
Farrell. Something Farrell.
Will Ferrell, yes.
There you go. I despise him.
Yeah, he's another one that, like, I mostly like his stuff, but I totally understand why he's so divisive.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm just not a huge fan of him. And when I'd say that at work and people say, well, you gotta like Step Brothers, like, I haven't even seen it because I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't. I don't really like Step Brothers. Comedy's so hard though, because like either it clicks with you completely. Like I love Zoolander, and I know a bunch of people that are like, "That's the dumbest movie I've ever watched." And I was like, "I get it." You can't watch a movie like Zoolander and be like, "That was fine." It's like you have to love it or hate it. It's
Ace Ventura again. It's the same thing with that. You either love Ace Ventura or you hate them.
That fucking the only scene I will argue with that on is where he's coming out of that rhino's ass.
I can't stand that scene. I hate it.
I love it so much. I think even if you've never seen those movies, I'm sure somebody would find that hilarious.
Like I think I prefer the second one to the first one.
Yeah.
There's a controversial statement in itself, but that's the one scene in the second one that I cannot stand.
Yeah.
My favorite scene in the second one is "You must be the Monopoly guy," and then he decks him. He's like, "Bring it up, let's go. I collect $200."
Man, those movies I don't think have aged super well. The first one certainly has not aged very well with its transphobic ending, but
yes,
the second one's probably still pretty good.
Yeah. Just yeah. Ace Ventura is a good movie, but yet still I cannot go back and watch Dumb and Dumber because that movie is so dumb.
Yeah, I've never loved that as much as a lot of other people have. I think there's a couple of really good throwaway lines, especially like "Big gulps, eh? See you later." There's some stuff there, but I think the thing that is rough about something like Dumb and Dumber that I think almost immediately after that started getting rectified was Dumb and Dumber's a bad movie that is occasionally funny. Like, there's no real plot to it.
No, it's about idiots.
Yeah.
And it's not like pointing out the fallacy of idiocy like something like Idiocracy does.
Right.
It's just literally about the two dumbest people on the planet.
Just like going from plot point to plot point. Like there's nothing much else there. And I think after that, you started seeing more mainstream funny movies that were also good movies.
Mm-hmm. I think one of my personal favorites that's massively underrated is Me, Myself, and Irene.
I love that movie.
It's so good.
It's so good. I feel like nobody has seen it, and it is impossibly long. But Jim Carrey puts on like 3 really good performances in that movie.
Yes, he does. He reminds me a bit of McAvoy in Split.
Yeah.
Which, okay, let's talk about these big drops that happened yesterday, so we can actually get out the way of the fresh news.
Okay.
Did you watch any of the DC trailers?
No, I didn't. I live in San Diego, so my
how was Comic-Con for you this year?
Yeah, my patience for Comic-Con every year is very thin.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Comic-Con news I ignore. So what trailers came out?
So they dropped Titans, I think, last week.
The Fuck Batman trailer?
Yes, the Fuck Batman trailer.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I think is actually a very good trailer, because I think it's Robin stepping up to be Nighthawk.
Oh, cool.
Nightwing. And it looks like it might be pretty good as him as the leader of the Titans, except they're not the Teen Titans, they're just the Titans now, for reasons I don't know.
The 20-ish Titans.
Yes. So it's really, really interesting to see. Like, it looks like a dark trailer, it looks like a serious trailer, it looks like everything that Teen Titans could and should be. Mm-hmm. Unlike Superman, which is, in my opinion, Superman should always be a blue sky movie.
Yeah.
Superman should never be dark.
No.
Superman should never be vengeful, because Superman is about the holier than holy, the greater than good. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they've gone super dark with his movies kind of bothers me a little bit. That's why Batman exists.
Yeah, exactly. They're like two sides of that coin.
Exactly, which is kind of where their whole relationship comes from. They also dropped the Aquaman trailer.
Okay.
Which looks like any of the DC like hero movies.
Okay.
Like, legitimately, it looks like the Batman trailer, it looks like a Superman trailer, because it's super dark and big CG spectacle and stuff like that, and Aquaman throws jokes in because that's what everybody does these days.
Right.
So it looks like exactly the same.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the show stealer.
Okay.
Shazam.
I didn't know that Zachary Levi was Shazam, and now I'm really excited about it.
Is that grown-up Shazam?
Yes.
He nails it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Watch the Shazam trailer now. Like, while we're in the pre-show, watch the Shazam trailer now.
Oh, I can't do it because it'll go over the stream. The audio.
I don't care.
I care. I don't want to get flagged.
You have a phone?
It's true. Brain Eater in chat says, what about the Godzilla trailer? That's the one I'm super interested in. That looks real good.
Yeah, I watched that trailer last night, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Like, that trailer looks incredible. And then I checked out the YouTube comments on it just for a bit of a giggle. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene in it where, spoiler alert, Mothra spreads her wings.
I saw a gif of that. It looks so good.
And someone responded on YouTube with the timestamp for that. I was like, is that Moonlight Butterfly from Dark Souls? And I burst out laughing. And Jess was like, what are you laughing about? So I just really image searched Moonlight Butterfly and just like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I get it. It's a really good joke. Like, congratulations, person on the internet who did that.
Maxus Prime says, I need to watch this stuff. Yeah, there's been what I'm happy about this year's Comic-Con is that they're releasing it to the internet instead of being like, I don't know, you might be able to see it in like 3 months.
Yes, and because what happens is the same thing that happened last year, which is cell phone footage gets taken and sent out immediately.
And someone goes, the movie looks like shit. It's like, yeah, it's on a phone that someone couldn't even hold, landscape.
Straight, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks great. And the final thing I watched for, Jess, I see you in chat. Back away because I'm about to talk about Glass.
Yeah, I don't think I'll watch that trailer because I'm curious enough about it. I haven't seen Unbreakable, to be fair.
But you haven't seen
I have
Unbreakable?
not. Right.
Have you seen Split?
Yes, I liked Split a lot.
You should have seen Unbreakable first.
Yeah, like, I know enough about Unbreakable because, like, I saw Sixth Sense, and I have not seen any of his other movies until the Split. And at the end of Split was that teaser, and I was sort of like,
yes.
Oh, okay, so they're gonna do that. Okay. Like, I knew enough. I feel like you know enough about Unbreakable through osmosis on the internet that it's sort of like, oh, I know who those are. Okay, cool.
Also, one of the most underrated superhero movies, I think. Like, that movie is genuinely great. I love that movie unabashedly, and it got trashed, but I really love that. Yeah. Unfortunately, I just think McAvoy steals the show in Split to the point where Split is a better movie just from cinematography and acting perspective alone.
He's so good in that.
Yeah. So I watched the trailer for Glass. Glass looks very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that one of the image for it is those three actors all sitting in a chair talking to I'm assuming a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. Hey there, Mechanical Beak.
Yay. But yeah, I really want to see Glass. Like, a lot.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that it's happening. Like, as someone who has no attachment to Unbreakable, that makes me really happy that, like, it's all coming together finally.
I honestly, I think Unbreakable is one of the most underrated movies because this was before Iron Man was a thing. It's before superhero movies made it huge again. And it was an understated, very small superhero movie about a very personal thing again. It's like, that's fine. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. So, I don't know. I'm interested a lot in seeing Glass because of that. And I might be an idiot for it, but even if I get to see McAvoy play 17 different roles again, then that's fine by me.
Yeah, at the very least, that'll be good.
Man, that dude's so good. Like, why did I not know that dude was so good?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I saw him in anything before the X-Men stuff. Lion,
the Witch, and the Wardrobe. He is...
Oh, he was in that? Really?
He's the calf dude, the guy who's half goat, half human.
Oh, he was. Yeah. I thought that movie was fine.
Yeah, he did a good job in that too, funnily enough.
Yeah, he was in Chronicles of Narnia. Oh, he was in Wanted. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was good in that.
He actually is as well. That keyboard, that's one of my favorite gifs of all time.
Yeah.
Is him smashing the guy in the face with the keyboard and the letters coming out of it, and it says, fuck you, on the letters.
Yeah.
Someone turned that into a gif, and it's like the best gif ever.
Becoming Jane. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, that's the Jane Austen movie.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that. I don't know why my wife and I haven't watched that.
I think McAvoy's he's been in a couple of those like historical pieces as well. I think for some reason I can't get the image out of my head of him in like Victorian era garb.
Yeah, well, he's British, so at some point he's going to be in some Jane Austen movie.
Yes, Jane Austen or that lady who wrote the Orient Express.
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about as well.
Yep. Agatha Christie?
I think that's the one, yes. Either that or
he's in It Chapter 2 next year.
Yes, I've heard I can't remember who he is, but I've heard he is one of the grown-ups.
Bill Denbrough, which I haven't read it in, I think, like 15 years, so I don't remember who that is.
I think Bill is the fat one.
Okay.
I realize that's a terrible thing to say, but in the book specifically, I think Bill is the fat kid who turns into a not fat adult.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about it is the kid in the first part of the book, the kids are stereotypes.
There you go. Atonement from my wife in chat. There's another thing. I haven't seen that either. That's probably the one where he's in Victorian garb, would be my guess.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Man, McAvoy's so good.
Alright, you ready to start this show? Alright, let's get started here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston Dream, as always, is Moonpeer.
Hello.
Yesterday, we finished recording the recap episode for Unravel. That's going to be in your feed around the same time this is. And at the end, announced the next game is Celeste, chosen by you, the Patreons. Patreon.com/E1M1, ones or numbers. So we're going to start that now. You have a month to play that game, and I started it this morning, and it is pretty tough. So
yay!
If all three of us don't manage to finish it, then you know why that is.
Yes.
I think that's all the news here at the beginning. Nope.
This Friday, ODNF episode 5 hits the Patreon feed, and ODNF episode 2 hits the free feed.
That's right. So check it out on both of those places. That's a $5 tier reward on Patreon, so that's the real sweet spot if you're looking to become a patron and support the show.
Also, the way you phrased that as a question mark was exactly how I phrased it during this episode. It's like we're on the $5 tier.
I just sort of assume it's $5 because that's the real sweet spot. So
yes.
All right, let's get into what you've been playing this past week, Moonpeer.
So I started the week by putting probably about maybe 10 or less hours into God of War.
Oh, okay.
I dealt with a couple of very large things.
Yeah, a couple big God of War bosses.
Yeah, which, let's talk about scale really quick.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that game is great.
That's one thing I was really worried about when I started it, and you fight the stranger at the beginning. It's sort of like, okay, like, that seemed like this was a big battle, and then it's like maybe one or two bosses after that, you fight something that is God of War scale, and it's like, alright, cool. Yeah, this is still great. When
you first get to the lake and you meet the serpent, that's when it's like, scale.
Oh yeah, the world serpent, right. That guy's real big.
He's kind of big, yeah. But I'm, again, trying not to give any spoilers away in case anybody is like me and trying to get through this for end-of-year discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know it's only halfway through the year. There is a lot of games to play.
So much out.
So I made it through my first area I talked about last time.
Mm-hmm.
I have the option to go to the fireplace, but I haven't gone there yet.
Okay.
And I fought 2 flying things on my process up the mountain, we'll say.
Okay, yeah.
So
the one tip, the fireplace is one of the 2 optional areas.
Yeah, I figured as much when it's like, we could go there or we could go somewhere else. I was like, okay, so optional area.
Yeah, I like both of those areas a lot. The fire one is combat focused, which I thought was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's, my head up there, maybe. Yeah. But we'll see. I'm getting deeper into the story of the 2 brothers, which is kind of a cool story, like
those guys,
the 2 dwarves. Like seeing their story develop is really cool. Also, learning why one of them is blue is even cooler.
I really liked both of those. Have you dealt with the skinnier one getting really nauseous yet?
Yep. Every single time I see him, and the tooth that you have to give him is a great moment.
So good. Just like he's probably one of my favorite voice actors in that game. Like, all of them are really great, but that guy doing voice acting for that character, like barely being able to keep his lunch down while he's just like daintily handling this disgusting tooth is so good. Yeah,
I love the fact that the 2 brothers, and like literally the thing that seems to have split them up is one of them discovered germs and the other one didn't.
Yeah.
So the one who discovered germs is now like super prissy and upper class kind of thing. Yeah. I'm not touching that. Don't touch me with your bare skin. Wash things before you give them to me.
Put it on the table.
Mm-hmm. And the other one is just the most foul-mouthed thing you've ever heard. Some of the things
no
he says,
other characters in that game are foul-mouthed at all, and he makes up for it.
Yep. I did discover the witch's identity, which is very interesting.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm also up to the point where I've been to the. I need to get to Jotunheim right now. Is where I'm up.
Okay.
I'm up to. I've done the thing you need to do to find the way to Jotunheim.
Right.
I'm looking for a chisel. If that helps with your knowledge of the area.
I think you're nearing about the halfway point.
Yeah, so I've been introduced to another 2 characters now. One of them is another companion, which is kind of a cool little touch.
Oh, Mimir?
Yes, Mimir.
Yes, Mimir is really great.
Like, that's really, really cool. And I think that's about it so far. I'm learning more about the world and the giants and, you know, this other kind of thing.
Storytelling when you're in the boat is so good. And it's one of those small things where you're never... Like, I never felt grumpy that I was going to get in the boat and sail somewhere because Mimir and the kid were always going to talk about something. I was like, this is super cool.
Yeah, I mean, it hit that point as well where just before I got Mimir, I was at that point where I felt like Kratos and the boy had ran out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, the past 4 times I got in the boat, I was listening to old parables told by Kratos in the worst way ever.
It's so good.
Like,
it's such
dude
a
can't tell a story, like, at all.
Man.
And when they, like, none of them I'd ever heard before until he got to the Frog and the Scorpion story. I was like, really? Yeah. We're going to go with the Frog and the Scorpion on this one?
Yeah.
Like, okay. And literally the next time I go in the boat, I had Mimir. I was like, great, another voice to add to the conversation.
Voice good too.
Yes. I do like the fact that looks like they basically just went throughout the UK and were like, you're Irish, you're Welsh, you're Scottish, we'll take you all, we'll get the fancy pants posh one over here, we'll get the working class one over here.
Right.
So,
we'll take one of everyone.
Yes. Very much like the Lord of the Rings thing of each race has a different accent because they represent like the different kind of areas of the United Kingdom at the time. So, I mean, God of War was really fun still. I need to kind of get back and play it. I've been distracted by time and games all over the place.
I found it was a really good game. It's not a great game to play for half an hour, unless you're going to like do a side quest or solve some puzzles on an island. It's a game to play for like 2 or 3 hours in one sitting.
Yeah, the problem I have with that is for me it's about an hour and a half is the max before my fingers start going numb.
Yeah. Is it because of how you have to hold the controller?
Yep, it's the stretching the thumbs across. Hits up with RSI basically in my hands.
Right.
And it just makes my fingers just start getting tingly. And it's like, nope, time to stop playing, time to play something else for a while.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's fine. I have 6 games on my PlayStation 4 and I have 290 on my Xbox. So something tells me I have the option for something else if I need it.
Exactly, yeah.
But I played, not enough, but I played a little bit of Elite Dangerous because I am getting totally jelly of my wife.
Okay.
Because my wife has just destroyed that game now.
Okay.
She now has like 4 of the upper tier ships.
Wow.
Yes, she has been on a tear. I don't know what podcast it is. I'm sure she can throw out the mentions at some point. She's been listening to a true crime podcast, which has basically stolen her life. I cannot say anything without ruining the middle of a horror story that she's currently listening to.
Right.
Which, no joke, like true crime is one of the most scariest things you can listen to. I avoid it for that reason.
I can't listen to them.
Yes, but she's totally into it, and that's absolutely fine. But because of the true crime nature of this, it's a great podcast, and Elite Dangerous happens to be a great podcast game.
Right.
So literally, she's probably spent about 300 million in credits that she's earned this week alone.
Jesus. On
a whole bunch of new ships. And it's like, well, now I gotta keep playing it just so I can keep up. Like,
yeah.
I got 3 ships. She's got like 9.
Buffalo now.
Yeah. And I was talking with, like, thanks to Nimp as well, community member Nimp, who recommended a trade route for us, and like a mission route and stuff like that. It's like, great, now the Sherpa has become the Sherpy, because now, thanks to that, my wife is miles ahead of me. And I'm doing okay. I'm not struggling or anything, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'm so far behind.
Your wife in chat says, get good, noob.
Really? How about you? I'm up here doing a podcast. How about you sign onto my Xbox and get me some money, please?
Yeah, start farming trade routes.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. But no, Elite Dangerous again. It's a great podcast game. I think we talked about this when I actually started talking about it. Like that, it's so relaxing, and I think both Jess and I agree at this point. If there was some VR option on the Xbox, we would probably both be completely fine with it.
Yeah.
Like, stick on a headset, get the full immersion down. Like, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Plus, we don't have kids to worry about. The big thing for me would be a cat jumping on my face and like making me crash into a sun.
Exactly.
But it's really, really cool. Now I have 2 games left. Both new releases. Yay!
Hey.
Talks about new releases again. Let's start with the smaller of the 2 new releases, shall we? Hungry Shark World was announced and then released over the course of like 24 hours.
Okay, I have heard of this, but I don't really know what it is.
Hungry Shark Evolution was the one you probably would have heard me talk about, which is the PC version. It's a mobile game. It's free to play. You swim around as a shark, you do missions, you eat things, you level up, you get bigger, you eat bigger stuff.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, except now it's on the Xbox.
All right.
And it's $10, and they've taken all the free-to-play stuff out of it.
Great.
And it's now got more than one map. It's got like 5 or 6 different locations. And like what looks like 10, 15 different sharks in it as well.
There's a battle royale mode.
And yes, 100 sharks jump out of a plane, land on an island, and then die.
Right.
But it's Hungry Shark World. I think I espouse the virtues of Hungry Shark Evolution being a very good switch my brain off, listen to the music, like the really cool like underwater music they've got. Get the gold rush, get the fun, have a great like 15-20 minutes, turn it off, play it again a different day.
Yeah.
It was fun. Hungry Shark World is more of that, except now it's on my Xbox, and I can do it while I'm sitting at the couch instead of having to do it while I'm sitting at the PC.
Right.
So I am completely fine with Hungry Shark World. It's fun. It's $10. Check out Evolution to give you an idea if you're in. Excuse me. To give you an idea if you're interested, just check out Hungry Shark Evolution. It's free on the Windows Store, and I'm pretty sure it's free on pretty much every platform at this point.
Oh, Hungry Shark World came out on PS4 too. I didn't realize that.
Yep, I think they announced it and dropped it like the day after.
Okay.
Like they announced it like I think it was on Monday they announced it, and then Tuesday it was out on both.
Nice.
So
that's a pretty good turnaround.
Yes, it's exactly how game releases should go.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you want Halo 6? Here you go. It's out tomorrow.
Yeah. Pre-order it right now. It comes out in 23 hours.
Yes. Pre-order it now with the extra big bundle to play it 12 hours before everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
But Hungry Shark World is fun. It's essentially a twin-stick shooter without guns, but with sharp teeth instead.
Yeah,
so,
there you go. That sounds alright.
Like, it's my kind of game. It's very appropriate for the limited time. Just want to switch your brain off for a little bit and nom on some fishies.
Yeah.
So I will take that any day of the week. My final game, a formerly controversial topic among this podcast. It's the Rat Game 2. It's Warhammer Vermintide 2.
Oh, yeah.
Which came to Game Pass last week, and I finally started playing it this week. Oh, Warhammer Vermintide is really good still.
Yeah.
Like, really, really, really good. It's got a couple of additions and changes and things like that in it. It has a free-to-play mechanic kind of in it.
Okay.
I'm fine with that because it does look like it's all cosmetic stuff. They have a box opening animation. They have item opening animation. Let's just say the items, the packs opening, which is essentially little medallions that expand into your loot. That's okay. The box opening animation is one of the worst box opening animations I've ever seen.
Oh no.
Learn from Rainbow Six Siege, learn from Overwatch, learn from Hearthstone. If you have a sick opening animation, it means a big difference.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to open way more things.
Yeah, because Rainbow Six Siege does that thing where their alpha packs are like the old school like sticker packs you used to get when you were a kid.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
where it's like a little plastic packet and you have to tear the top open. Like, it's really cool opening animation. Like, give us a good opening animation. This is like a wooden box that just goes and falls apart. It's so bad.
That's rough.
But I don't mind because the game itself is absolutely incredible. They have added more special rats in. There are now humans in the game as well instead of just rats.
Oh, nice.
So, because the rats have formed an alliance with like barbarian hordes. It's got the Warhammer Vermintide 1 stuff done really well still. There is still books that you can find throughout the course of the map that will give you an increase to your loot roll at the end.
Ooh.
In this case, it's really interesting because what used to happen, and I miss the way they did it in Vermintide 1, you basically, as you went through the level, you will collect loot die and these tomes. And that's tomes with an E, not tomes with a B. Come on, Justin, say it right. Tomes, not tombs.
Right.
Tombs is what you get buried in.
Right.
So you used to collect these things, and at the end you would get a number of dice based on what you collected throughout the course of the level. Okay. And then you throw those dice into like a dice rolling thing, and then the number dictates the level of the loot that you got. Really cool animation, especially seeing like the D6s get thrown down. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
In this one, it's literally just a bar that fills to dictate the quality of the chest that you get at the end.
Yeah.
Which is a very Fortnite thing, which is what Fortnite does when you complete the missions, and that fills a bar, the chest gets leveled up as you do it, and it changes the way it looks. But that's pointless because the chest animation is hot garbage, so I really don't care about the level of the chest.
Sort of not great from front to back.
Exactly. But the gameplay itself is fantastic.
Still Left 4 Dead?
Still Left 4 Dead. Still 4 humans trying to make your way through a mission. Trying to survive against the hordes and do what you can to progress the story. I'm almost at the end of Act 1 at the moment, but so far it's more of the same.
Yeah.
Except it looks better. It controls really nice still. They've added more specials, more options. So I ain't complaining at all because this game looks great.
Yeah.
Like, really, really great.
I heard it looks and runs pretty well on the X.
It reminds me of like God of War does this thing where it's like really good scale.
Yeah.
Like the scale of God of War is fantastic. Like you see the mountains and the detail and everything you put into it looks great. This is like, it's medieval times, so it's castles and things like that, and you can see them everything falling apart. But everything's just so crisp and clean, and it looks just so amazing. But I wish they had a different voice actor for the Witch Hunter, which is unfortunately the character I am primarying as right now.
Oh no.
Because he sounds like he's trying to force like a weird Cockney English Irish accent out.
Oh boy.
And if I'm with bots, not with people, and I lead the way, he talks all the time. It's this way. Oh, we need to go the other way. This is a dead end.
Oh no.
Over and over and over again. So I think I'm just going to play with community members, and then they can lead the way so I don't have to listen to my idiot talk.
Yeah, you can just cover the rear.
Yes, exactly. It does contain one of my favorite ongoing jokes from Vermintide 1 though, which is the elf calls the dwarf and the human and the witch mayflies.
Nice.
Which is an incredibly great insult from an elf.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good, it's fun. I'm going to continue playing it. Hopefully I'll beat the story mode at some point and then up the difficulty, because it has that Diablo thing of this difficulty gives you certain loot. As you equip that loot and craft new items for your character, your level goes up. You do more damage, you do more everything. Mm-hmm. Then when you go on to the next difficulty, the scale of the loot you get goes up.
Oh no.
So you play through the whole game again, and then when you get to the next difficulty, the scale of the loot goes up.
I didn't know that that's dangerous.
Stop me if you hear a pattern here.
Yeah. Oh no.
Vermintide 1 did the exact same thing. I just could never get a solid time to play the first game enough to get to the higher difficulties. But yeah, it sounds like this game may have hooked a couple of people already that I know, so hopefully we're looking at a decent little let's play Vermintide 2 for the next 2 years, hopefully.
Well, it helps a lot being on Game Pass.
Yes, exactly. It does make me laugh because on the title screen, if you play the Game Pass version, it gives you the pre-order option.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. The game came out a while ago,
Pretty
but
good.
okay.
Yeah.
So, good on them for, number one, good on them for putting it in Game Pass day one. When this thing eventually leaves Game Pass, I will be picking it up. Hopefully, it will be a timing thing of out of Game Pass onto sale. So,
yeah.
if they can do it that way, then that would be great. But I'm looking forward to playing a ton more of Vermintide 2, keep playing a ton more Elite Dangerous, and of course, God of War. What's going on? Like, when did games get so good?
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a good call. Okay, so yeah. But yes, that's pretty much all I've been playing. So over to you, Mr. Boston.
I finished my third Final Fantasy V four-job Fiesta run. That was pretty easy. I just needed to keep fighting the final boss until RNG was on my side, and kind of motored my way through it. So I've started my fourth run, which I'm doing a popular run, which is basically the classes you're going to get are weighted more heavily towards classes that were voted popular during the run before the actual runs start. So I got Summoner, another Summoner, Black Mage, and Chemist. Which means I'm not going to have any physical damage, but I will just scorch everything to death with all of my magic. So. Is this
the run that you talked about that you'd have to do a little bit of research on because it's classes you're not used to?
Yeah, I've never had the Chemist before, and I know it's incredibly powerful in just ways that are totally broken. You basically, the crux of the job is the mix command. You take two items, smush them together, and they generate a third item. I don't have it yet. I'm in the Earth dungeon right now, so I've been doing a little bit of research and a little bit of preparation, but until I get my hands on it, I sort of don't understand it quite yet.
Yeah.
But I'm slowing down on this run mostly because of all the other stuff I'm playing, so this one will probably be a while in the making. So I did play more Octopath Traveler. I got my third party member, the Scholar. His story was not great, but his skill you use in town is pretty interesting. It's called Scrutinize, and you basically talk to someone and...
I'm sorry, as soon as you said that, I thought of an 8-bit Final Fantasy looking character with the doubt, lie, truth thing.
That'd be great. No, you sort of pester them until they tell you where an item is hidden in the environment, or like you bother someone and then you'll get, it's like 20% cheaper to stay in the inn, or new weapons show up in the weapon shop, that sort of stuff. It seems fine. I feel like it's not as obviously useful as the first two characters I got, but I'm in the town where the fourth character is, and I'm struggling to play it, not because it's not good, but because I've been playing something else on the Switch that's way better. So, but that's not Octopath Traveler's fault. I did want to mention two things I like about Octopath that I haven't really seen an RPG do in a really long time. The main crux of the battle is an enemy will have a shield next to them with a number on it. You have to hit that weakness a number of times before they get dazed, and you sort of break through their defenses. Underneath their health, underneath them, I guess, is a little bar of icons, and that represents the weaknesses that you've found that the enemy is weak to.
So it's a bit like the Persona 5, like looking at the Persona, look at the enemies thing. Like, once you hit them once with ice and they're weak to ice, it's like it's there to be. Anytime you look at them in detail, it shows you that.
Yeah, what I like over something like Persona, though, because that's a good example, because it very much is the same system. Is it's always shown right under the characters, and you always know, like, they have 5 weaknesses because there's 5 boxes.
Little
they
slots,
have 3 weaknesses because they have 3 boxes. And what I think is fun is it turns that weakness, figuring out that enemy's weakness, into a puzzle, where it's like, all right, I found 4 out of these 5. What's the last one? Oh, cool, I just need to use a wind spell. That makes sense. The other thing is, I didn't really understand it at the beginning of the game, but every time you go into a new area, or you're sort of going to transition into a new area, there's a display on the bottom of the screen that says danger level. And what's really smart is that corresponds to character levels. So if you go in and you're level 10 and the area says danger level 7, you know you're going to be fine. But I stumbled upon a secret dungeon that was danger level 45, and
so
the first fight just destroyed me. I was like, okay, so now I know very clearly that, you know, this is my watermark for where I'm supposed to go. So I think that stuff is pretty smart. I'm still having fun with Octopath Traveler. I'm just hoping I meet a character whose story I kind of care about. The story is fine, but a lot of it is really stereotypical, and it's voice acting is fine, but it's not great. The translation is good, but the battle system is where it's really going to be. And I think the story is not going to be the focus at all, which is fine.
But that's the thing that got me about Dragon Age Origins. Like, they made you care about every single different type of origin story that you went through in that game.
Yep. Yeah, and on this, not really yet. But I know that each character has, like, 3 chapters to their story, so there might be some that I eventually sort of really get attached to, but so far, not yet. I did play a bunch of Enter the Gungeon, the advanced Gungeons and Dragons.
I'm really sad I didn't get to play this after, like, seeing everybody talking about it, like the new update. It's just, I probably should have played this.
Yeah, I think if you haven't played it before, that's okay, because it's a way better game now.
Yeah, like, as soon as I saw you, I saw Rob, and I think Justin all talking about it on Twitter, not to mention the random celebrities and people like that who are talking about how great this new update is. It's like, okay. I'm kind of glad I'd waited more than a year now since I bought the game to actually launch it. I need to play more games and buy less games.
Yeah, I think the thing about the update is, so number one, it's free. I think there's been a little bit of confusion around that. The supply drop update and this AG&D update are both free for the base game, and it was on sale for half off for this week, which was a really $7.50 is a really good price. The biggest thing they changed is the game is way more generous now. You're getting more drops more often, and they took away locked shops before, which, you know, Moon and I play Binding of Isaac, so every shop is locked, but that's fine.
But it's super generous with the keys.
Yeah, and Enter the Gungeon never was. So running into a shop where you could potentially buy a key because you have enough money, but not having the shop or not having a key to open it felt cruel. To sort of not mince words. So they removed that. The game is way more generous, and they added a whole bunch of new guns and a whole bunch of new rooms, but most importantly, they added 500 synergies.
Yep. Which, for anybody who's listening who hasn't played like a roguelike and this kind of collect the items and get a build kind of item, synergies are the be-all and end-all of games like this.
Yeah.
It can it's the joy of discovering like the how well two items blend together. To use a dead simple example from Isaac, there's an item called Brimstone, which is super powerful, which is basically you don't fire tears, you fire a big red laser that's super deadly. Then you accidentally pick up rubber cement.
Right.
That laser now bounces off the wall.
Yeah.
So it becomes twice as deadly and 3 times more awesome because that synergizes well with that other item. From what I understand with Gungeon, Enter the Gungeon, it had what, like 70, if that?
It was way less than that. And the problem with the original synergies is you would have a gun in your inventory, and then you'd pick up an item, whether it's another gun or sort of like a passive item, and really briefly above your head, an up arrow would show up and then disappear. And that was the game telling you the thing you just picked up synergized with something else, but if you have something like 10 guns, you're never going to figure out what it is. But now, how they do it is when you open up the Ammonomicon, and you highlight, I know it's still so good.
It's still so good, yeah.
You highlight over that item, the up arrow displays over that item and the thing it synergizes with.
Okay.
So you immediately know, okay, these two things are going to synergize in some way. So one of the easiest examples is there's the lowercase gun, the one that looks like a lowercase r. When you shoot it, it says bullet, bullet, and it fires out the letters bullet.
Yep.
When you pick up ghost bullets, which is Enter the Gungeon's equivalent of spectral tears, it then shoots out and says, boo, spooky, and it changes the bullets and the words that fire out. And like that gun has a bunch of synergies with all those different type of special bullets. It's dumb stuff like that that's really, really great.
Yeah. It's also, that's the type of stuff where, like, if you've never played a roguelike or you've never felt like these type of games are your jam, that's kind of one of the big calling points for these type of games is randomly discovering what two items happen to work really well together.
Yeah, and now suddenly you're super overpowered.
Yep.
And one of the biggest updates for me personally is the game is really good. When you open up the map, at any point you can travel to any of the warp points on the map that you've discovered. They added more warp points, like there's one at the very end of the level. There's almost always going to be one in rooms that have a chest in them, so it's a little easier to get around the map. You can also now save hearts that you can then redeem at the end of the level out of a vending machine. So if you get really banged up by the boss, you can like kick out the 3 hearts you saved over the course of the level, heal yourself up before you keep going.
That's cool.
The thing that I really like, though, is there's an option that I highly encourage everyone to turn on. When you're not in combat, you move twice as fast.
Oh.
And it's so nice just getting around the map, even if it's like, all right, I have to teleport here and then walk through 2 or 3, rooms to get to this one thing I want to go to. You can just kind of cook and book your way through that level. So it's all stuff like that. Like, it was a pretty big update. I think it was 400 or 500 megs.
Yeah.
And the amount of stuff that they've changed, especially quality of life stuff, is just fantastic. And the one item, I hadn't really looked at some of the previous updates. So they have the Payday 2 masks in the game.
Yes.
I didn't see how much they cost in the store. They cost 10,000 shells, which is an impossible number. Most stuff costs like 10 or 20 shells. And I think it's really great because at that point, the only way you can get them is by stealing them from the shop.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, that's perfect for those Payday 2 masks.
Yeah.
Like, how else would you do that?
That's a really good, like, secret reference. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. And I can't recommend Enter the Gungeon enough now. It was a really good game before that. I feel like even as you were getting better at the game, and you had more knowledge of the game and what guns were good and what guns curse you and that sort of stuff, I still felt like there were too many runs that were just dead on arrival. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't get any guns on the first floor, or the one you got is like the flare gun, and that thing sucks. And, you know, you can make it all the way to the third floor without really getting any upgrades, and the way that enemy health scales, you were just sort of screwed at that point.
Yeah.
I feel like the game resolved that. I have seen some criticism online that maybe the game is a little too generous now. If you feel that way, you can change in the options menu to the old drop system. But I don't know why you would, because it's just so much more fun now. So yeah, Enter the Gungeon was a great game that feels completely different now in the best ways.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah, it feels very much like the opposite of when Afterbirth Plus came out, and everyone's like, "Hey man, you made this game more mean." Like that's not what I wanted to do. It feels like they went on the other end of the spectrum, where it's like, stuff's dropping forever. Let's have some fun. Let's beat some secret bosses and have a good time.
Yeah.
So, 2 thumbs up. Go play Enter the Gungeon. And last but not least, the game I have been playing non-stop this week is Hollow Knight.
Yep.
Hollow Knight. Oh god, Hollow Knight is so good. If it keeps up this level of quality for the entire game, which I have a feeling it will, I'm about 33%. I'm about a third of the way through the game. This will probably be one of my favorite Metroidvanias. Easily.
Oh, maybe I need to play this Hollow Knight.
Yeah, right now it's on PC and Switch, and they're saying they're working. Team Cherry says they're working with Sony and Microsoft to have it come out on other consoles, but probably not anytime soon, unfortunately.
Is this the Nicholas approach of?
No, I get the impression that it's a very small team, and they're sort of focusing on... I just started playing this, and they've announced another free DLC pack that's coming out, that is on top of the 3 free DLC packs that already came out.
Oh, wow.
That sort of continue to expand the map and the world. So it seems like they're primarily focusing on finishing all this free content they wanted to put out, and then seems like they kind of wanted to... It seems like another company ported it to Switch, so I think they didn't really have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I fought my first boss, and I beat it on the first try, which felt incredible. Some of the bosses are not unfairly tough, but just you have to learn their patterns. You have to play, not perfectly, but if you're going to make mistakes, you need to recover from it really quickly.
Oh, so like a Metroidvania should be.
Yeah, and I was banging my head on this one boss the other day, and I was playing it when I was really tired, which is the last thing you should be doing. But I needed to play more of it.
Yeah.
And I haven't been sleeping well lately, which is great, because I have the Switch right there and plug the headphones in, and I'm not going to bother anyone. But it feels so good that I kept dying because of my own stupidity, and I kept thinking, that's fine. I will do the run back to the boss. One of the things I really like in the game is they have you do a corpse run, almost like... I don't want to compare it to Dark Souls, but I will, because that's probably the thing that most people have experience with. Once you die, you go back to the last, basically a park bench that you sat down on and saved.
Yeah. You
do a corpse run all the way back to your body. You fight the body, that like this evil spirit that came out of you when you died.
Kind of like the mummy.
Yes, exactly. But so far, your evil spirit is pretty dumb, which is better than the mummy, which is sort of like, hey, I have 400 grenades. Here we go. You know.
Yeah.
So you do that. You get all your geo, which is the currency in the game, and refills all your spirit energy or whatever. So make that run, fight the boss again, you know, learn a little bit more about the pattern, die because I was dumb, and sort of rinse and repeat. But I never really felt punished because the boss was really all of the bosses so far have been really well designed, and the patterns are clear, and the them communicating and telegraphing their patterns has been really good. It's just you need to be good at the boss fight to finish it.
Yeah.
So far it's been really great. I got my first spell. The very first spell you have when you start the game, you hold down the A button, and every time you hit enemies, you get soul, I think it is. There's this little orb that fills up. Use that to refill your health. I got another spell that basically shoots out a giant fireball in front of you, but it uses that same soul pool, basically. So, do you want to do a whole bunch of damage to the boss at once and get rid of half of that bar, or do you want to save it for when you need to heal yourself? So far, that's been really great. I think there's something to be said about the sound design in this too. Number one, I've heard some people say they're playing it without sound, which is, don't do that. If you can play with headphones, that would be really great, because there's so much stuff in the environment that is trying to tell you about secrets or false walls or breakable walls. Like, there can be areas where you clear out all the enemies and you still hear something skittering around. So you know at somewhere there's a breakable wall. Or you might hear one of these like worm slug things that are crying out. So you know in that area there's probably a difficult platforming section that you can then go break them out and then get some sort of reward from, like, Slug Dad or something in this. The game's sort of weird because it looks great and it's really well animated and it's a gorgeous game, but it's purposely vague on so much stuff. Like, a lot of stuff doesn't have terms with it. A lot of the storytelling that's going on, and there's a lot of it, is pretty vague, but I feel like that's just kind of pulling me into it more and more, as opposed to, well, here's what happened with this world, and here's the reason why everyone's an insect, you know, that sort of, or like, here's who you are, you know. I still don't know that, but from a purely Metroidvania standpoint, I feel like it does, when those games do it really well, it starts you off in a small area, you know, like beat a boss and you get a skill, and that opens up a little bit more of the area, and you kind of rinse and repeat over time.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like about Hollow Knight so much is the starting area is very small. You fight a boss and you get another skill. But every time you get a new skill, I feel like it's almost radiating out from the center. Like, you get further and further away from the main town that you're in, and stuff starts looking more alien, and you start getting more and more story. But every time you get a new upgrade, it feels so good to be like, oh, okay, cool. You know, you can put these pins on your map to say, all right, I gotta come back here because I can't do something here. It feels really great to
vertical columns of space.
Yeah, that's one of the last upgrades I've gotten, which is a triangle jump. It's really great to look at my map and say, okay, I've marked the map here, here, and here. If I remember correctly, those are places that I needed something like this, and now you can go back there and get, you know, open up a whole new area, and God, that always feels so good.
Yeah.
So, Hollow Knight so far is really great, and this is a big part of why I haven't been wanting to play Octopath Traveler, is because I keep firing up my Switch, and either Hollow Knight is open,
or it's right there.
Yeah, or it's like the second icon in my list. It's sort of like, yeah, I could just play a Hollow Knight because I found a boss, and, you know, I was too tired to keep fighting it. Or like last night, I found a whole new area that I sort of didn't realize I had the key to. It's like this whole insect city, and I'm like, well, now I've got to I gotta go explore that. That's gotta be have something cool in there, right? So yeah, Hollow Knight is really good. It's on PC and Switch, and shockingly, I haven't had any control issues on Switch because one of the interesting things is your character can slash in the 4 cardinal directions, and the downward slash is really important because when you downward slash an enemy, you sort of bounce off of them.
Yeah.
So there are some pretty interesting platforming sections where you do that multiple times across multiple enemies to get somewhere.
A little like Shovel Knight.
Yeah, a lot like Shovel Knight, where sort of you get that bounce coming off of them. There's some stuff that does in the environment too, which is really fun. But I often have a problem with the Switch's quote unquote D-pad.
Yeah, it's not a D-pad.
No, it is not. It is. I understand why Nintendo did it, but come on, it's rough. But shockingly, that hasn't really been a problem for Hollow Knight.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, and man, it's just so good. It's all I want to play right now, which hasn't happened in a while. Especially for something like a Metroidvania, because I feel like we played, for Game Club, we played the Mummy Demastered, which was good, but I felt like it was almost punitive in its difficulty.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the one just before that, I'm pretty sure, was Axiom Verge.
Yeah, like we had played that, yeah, I think it was a couple episodes before that. That was really good, but I feel like even Axiom Verge didn't keep a part in my brain that Hollow Knight does. Like Axiom Verge, I was excited to go play it because I was having fun, but Hollow Knight is always sort of pulling me towards my Switch, being like, you have half an hour, you could just play more Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've felt like that for a Metroidvania, which is a great genre, so it feels really good.
It's one of your 2 kryptonite genres, so yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
JRPGs. Maybe SRPGs more.
A little bit, yeah.
SRPGs and Metroidvanias are your 2 like top tier, god tier genres. So.
Yeah, and like being able to combine Metroidvania with light in-game mapping is too much for me. It's too much goodness. So, but that's all I've been playing this past week. So let's take a break. I need to go to the bathroom pretty badly, so I will be right back.
As do I, after you.
Okay.
I may or may not just accidentally totally lean over this way. Hello, chat. I'm still here. Any questions? Ask away. I need to reach. Come on. Thank you. Oh, air on my skin. Oh. How does it get so stiflingly hot like this quick? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I do get it. It's hot and this house is made of wood. That's why. Don't mind me. I'm just looking at my shelves and trying to figure out where I need to put stuff to tidy up this room. Ow. As I keep hitting my knee on the printer because I'm that much of an idiot. And that does remind me, it is 6 o'clock. And according to my watch, I have free campaign energy. So while I'm talking to you guys, I will collect my campaign energy. And I see my wife in chat talking about me being gross. She is correct. 100%. Hi, babe. You're gonna be mean to me again and claim you're not a troll. You are a troll. Mechanical Beacon chat asks top 3 game of the year so far. Actually, let me just pull up my notebook over here. I have been making a note of games I've played this year, otherwise I will forget and then forget something at the end of the year. List of games I played in 2018. I As of right now, top 3 are probably God of War, Monster Hunter World. Oh. Marvel Strike Force has got a chance because I play that thing every day, but there are issues with it. I don't know. Looking at this list, maybe Vermintide 2, State of Decay 2. Who knows?
Or other sequels.
Oh, other sequels too. Potential top 3 game of the year so far. It's tough.
All right, your turn. I'll hang out here and talk to chat.
Okay. I forgot to add God of War onto my games I've been playing this year list.
Oh, yeah, is it on mine? TVGP Top 10 2018. Let's look. Yes, it is. All right.
And I missed a whole bunch of chat on YouTube there, so I apologize.
Let's open up YouTube chat. Hello, everyone in chat. Let's look at news stories here. More trailers. A new what is that series called in the US? Let's talk about this. The drumming controller one. Where is it here? Ah, Taiko Drum Master. Yeah. Is there a new one coming out? Oh yeah, there's one coming out for the Switch. Ah, this could be so good. You don't need to know much Japanese for that one. Bloodborne. An 8 terabyte external hard drive for $150. The True Crime Podcast is Case File. There we go. A lot of Comic-Con stuff, man. Alright, let's check Reset Era to see if there's any other new news stories. It's a very Unsolved Mysteries TV show vibe. Ooh, that does sound good. What is the coziest spot in Breath of the Wild? Okay. Nintendo Life ranks all mainline Zelda games. Oh boy. Put Breath of the Wild in the first spot. Where is Twilight Princess? Number 13. That's super low. Underneath Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks? That's... Come on, man. Thanks. Mega Man 10 Legacy Collection. Bethesda. We have to change the way we approach single-player games.
What?
Moonbear has returned. Probably yelling at a cat who's yelling at him.
Okay, that's
Single player is still a thing. It might continue to grow or evolve. It was part of who we are, and we still think there's room to be successful. That doesn't mean we should keep doing things the way we did 5 or 10 years ago. We've got to continue to how we approach it. Yeah, maybe Bethesda's single-player games would be way more successful if they would just fucking market them.
Which?
Bethesda's single-player games. That isn't, like, Fallout or Elder Scrolls.
Wait, are you telling me you don't think they market them enough?
No. Like,
really?
with Prey and... Especially with
Prey.
Especially
Prey,
with Prey and, I guess anything coming out of Arcane, they don't really market.
Yes, that I can agree with.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you're talking Fallout or any of those ones...
No, Fallout and Elder Scrolls, I think they do a pretty good job, and then the rest of the internet goes crazy promoting those. But nearly anything else, like both Dishonored games, got fucking nothing.
Yep. The only thing I remember from Dishonored 1 is the live-action trailer that they did.
I don't even remember that. I remember the first trailer from Dishonored 2, where she was like trying to escape that Clockwork Mansion.
Yeah, cool. I kind of really want to play Dishonored 2 just for that level.
I have it because it was It's super cheap on PS Plus for a while.
I think I have the first one. Well, I got full one retail 1000 on the first one on 360 because I love that game. And then I think I've got the first one remastered. I think that was probably Games with Gold at some point.
Brain Eater says they market the franchises that don't really need marketing. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the ones
there's
that
a new
sell
Fallout
themselves.
game coming out. We're gonna put a commercial on TV every 5 minutes.
Yep.
No need
or before or after every single video on E3.
Yeah.
I hate Country Roads.
Country Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Bethesda. I mean, the hard part too is the Dishonored games and Prey especially are great games that I think all reviewed pretty well. Prey reviewed fine.
Yeah, Prey I think got the average reviews.
Let's look at Prey on OpenCritic. 81 for Prey.
That's not too
really
bad.
good.
On the IGN scale, that's 0 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even fit to wipe my ass with. 18 reviews scoring 65 or lower.
AKA, this isn't the Prey we were promised. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen so many people say, like, well, they should have named it something other than Prey. It's like, that's not really Prey's problem. Like,
No.
that's not the biggest problem Prey has. It's sort of... Prey's a game you really need to play pretty blind to, I think, enjoy the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most
Joe
definitely.
in YouTube chat says, play Dishonored 2. I haven't installed my PS4 and I just need to... My problem with Dishonored is I know each one of the levels is pretty long and I'm going to want to play it as stealthily as possible, so it's going to take even longer, and I don't know where I'm going to find that time.
I'm pretty sure they do have a pretty generous quick save mechanic in Dishonored 1 and Dishonored 2. Because Dishonored 1, it was one of those things where, I ain't gonna lie, I got the no kills, no detection achievement in there.
Nice.
I did that by cheesing the hell out of that save system.
Sure, I mean, at some point, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a couple of areas where it's like there's 4 dudes all looking directly at each other.
Right.
And I was going non-lethal at the time. It's like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. So let's just save it and then smash my head against the wall until I figure out the correct order to do it in.
See what works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mechanical Beacon chat with like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I have the Skyrim Remastered Edition. I haven't started it because I'm terrified.
Yeah, like how deep are you gonna go?
Yeah. Well, I think I put like 900 hours into the first Skyrim.
I put a lot of time on 360, no less.
Yeah. And that scares me a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready to finish this thing out?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's start in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of July 23rd, 2018. Mega Man Legacy Collection. Both of them, it looks like, coming out for PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One.
So is this a re-release of a re-release of a re-release?
No, this is... The only thing... The only reason why I say this is different is because they're treating it very much like how they did the Mega Man Legacy Collection, which is we're going to basically rewrite them from the ground up with a custom emulator. It's not sort of like, well, we've got 2 games from here and 3 from there, and we'll just smush them all together. They did a really good job on them, so... yeah, if this is the same level of quality as the last ones, they'll be pretty good. And most of the X games are pretty good too. No Man's Sky comes out on Xbox One, which includes the next update, which is also coming out on the other platforms on the 24th. I'm very excited to check this out, and I'm really excited for more people to play No Man's Sky, especially since now it's a totally different game.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, to be honest, I am very, very interested in this. But my wife and I were actually talking about it the other day. The Ultimate Game Sale is going on the Xbox right now, and I think Hellblade is like $10 or something like that. It's like, ooh, that's a really good game for a really cheap price.
Yeah.
Oh wait, why should I buy it right now?
Right.
When I literally can't play the 200 and change installation already in.
There's no more hours in the day.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. The Banner Saga 3 comes out on PC, OS X, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, finishing out the Banner Saga trilogy, which probably means I have to start playing these at some point, but...
I think I own the first two. Guess what? I think I've never played either of the first two.
Probably. I've heard they're really good.
Yes.
So. Crossing Souls comes out on the Switch, which reminds me I need to finish that as a backer of the Kickstarter.
I don't even know what that is.
That's that 80s game I was playing earlier this year. It's like an adventure action game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was that the one that very recently came out for free on Prime?
Maybe. Twitch Prime had a lot of stuff that came out this month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least, 2064 Read-Only Memories comes out on the Switch, which seems like a really great platform to play that on. Although I own it somewhere, I think.
Check Steam. It's more than likely Steam.
Probably Steam, yeah. Let's talk about the only news story this week. It's been kind of a quiet week in general, except for the Culling 2.
Yeah.
So, we didn't talk about it last week because it seemed like punching down, and I that's not really what this show is all about. But boy, they made some pretty big changes. So the Culling was the first one, apparently a really big hit on Steam Early Access, and was an early Battle Royale game, and did pretty well. Up until it sounds like the developers, over the life of the first game, were sort of changing too many things that the player base didn't really want them to change. They were sort of fixing things that weren't broken.
Yeah.
And recently they just decided to put out a sequel, The Culling 2, that from all accounts is just really bad. Just no two ways about it, was just a really bad game. And
I think we mentioned it last week, though. At least the developers were self-aware enough to put that photo of the fire dog in there. And like,
yes.
Well, this is fine.
Yeah, because they, looking at the Steam charts of max concurrent players 3 days after the game came out, there was 3 people. That's a failure at that point.
That sounds like Evolve.
Yeah, but man, Evolve at least had a player base for a while, but this just crashed right out of the gate. So the developers put out a shockingly honest tweet a couple days after the game came out and said, yeah, we're trying to figure out what the future of our company is after this game failed. We'll see in a couple days.
Yep.
And their answer was, well, if you bought the Culling 2, we're no longer selling it, so you're going to get a refund. If you enjoyed the first Culling, we're going to bring that back to basically the launch version. So they are pulling all the way back to, I think, 6 months after the first game came out. Most people were saying that's kind of the sweet spot. And they said, okay, we're going to get rid of the Culling 2, and we're going to roll the Culling all the way back to when you guys really liked it. So that's really surprising, because I think in 2018 you sort of expect the developers to be like, oh, you don't like the Culling 2? Well, we're going to shut down the first one. You have to play the second one if you want to keep playing. Whoops, we failed. It's interesting to see a studio come out and say, yeah, we really screwed up, and we're going to bring it all the way back.
Yeah, good on them.
Yeah.
I hope it works out for them. I don't know if it will, but I hope it does. But at least it's one of those wonderful moments that we don't get enough of, developers being honest and studios and stuff being honest and just saying, yeah, this is a mess.
We screwed up, sorry.
The direct opposite of the game coming out this week for the Xbox.
Yeah, there have been a lot of great interviews with Sean Murray this past week, one of which is the Polygon one that I'm a little ways into. But it has been interesting to see Sean Murray suddenly springing back to life and being like, all right, Radio Silence is over, No Man's Sky, woo! And it's like, okay, I'm also curious why you disappeared, but
yep,
No Man's Sky is better than ever, and the next update looks pretty good, so we'll find out. I'll be talking about it next week. Hopefully my wife and I can carve out some time to play a co-op and see if we can find each other.
Yes.
Because I have no idea how that works. We'll find out on Tuesday, I guess. Before we move into questions, TVGP recommends. I don't have anything this week because I forgot about it again.
Same.
Okay.
Case File is my wife's true crime podcast, if anyone is interested in that.
Yes, so Jess has a recommendation for this week. Let's move on to questions. T-Bomb Rocks on Discord says, 343 Industries lead writer Jeff Ersling said the studio isn't interested in doing a Battle Royale mode, which is surprising because I would love to see their take on it. Do you think this is a sign that devs are realizing the market is getting oversaturated, or that the trend will eventually fade?
A little bit of both. It could also be a case of how much resources do you want to throw into that kind of development.
Right.
When you're going to be coming
Fortnite?
out. Yeah. Can you beat Fortnite? Can you beat PUBG?
Right.
Especially for a Halo game, when you have the console exclusivity on PUBG.
Yeah.
You really want to dip the wick into your own pond.
Well, and I think the thing, too, with 343 is the last couple Halo games have not been well received.
Yes.
And I think if they're going to focus on stuff, they should focus on the stuff that the player base says, like couch co-op with split screen. You know, that's the stuff the fan base is saying, these are the things we would like to see back. You know, even that that big multiplayer mode they had in the last game, I don't remember the name of.
Me either.
It was like 30 versus 30 and had all the cards and stuff. People didn't really respond to that super well either, so I don't know if you're at 343 and you look at Battle Royale, I don't think you should bother.
No.
I don't think it makes sense for your studio at all.
No, I think they're in the biggest jam of, like, I feel sorry for 343 because you've got to try and appease all of the Bungie fans for the first, like, what, 4 or 5 Halo games?
Something like that, yeah.
You've got to appease all the Halo fans who are not Bungie fans,
right?
Who stuck around, and you've got to somehow put your own spin and your own twist on it. I like the work that 343 did. I think Halo 4 is probably my favorite Halo game. I haven't played 5. And I haven't played, obviously I haven't played 6, but I think 4 is probably, in my opinion, the best told of those Halo stories. But that being said, I've also read all of the novels, so there's a whole bunch of additional, like, little nods and references and stuff like that I'm getting, because I'm not just a fan of the video game, I'm a fan of the universe. Right. And it doesn't matter to me if it's Bungie or if it's, you know, if it's 343, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Just make a good story game and I'll be happy.
Yeah, and I feel like you bring up a really great point about satisfying all the fans. Like, I think with public perception pretty low on the Halo series right now, focusing on Battle Royale is not going to get you where you need to go. It's making sure multiplayer is still solid and making sure that the higher difficulties on the single player are tuned correctly so that you're encouraging more people to go through that stuff and making it streaming friendly and that sort of stuff, but not Battle Royale. No,
they'll come out and they'll have their huge esports representative, but
yeah,
they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. Change too much and it's not Halo. Change not enough, it's not evolved enough.
That's a bad position to be in for anybody.
Yeah, I think the only studio of recent memory who've nailed that is the Coalition with Gears 4. Because Gears 4 is pretty much an ideal sequel from the Unreal Gears or the Epic Gears. So good on them for that.
Yeah, and then they supported the hell out of it for a real long time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maximus Prime in Discord says, No Man's Sky has received numerous large free updates, and finally, after 2 years, they are introducing the feature that caused death threats for its absence. Multiplayer is finally coming to No Man's Sky along with its release on Xbox One. Do you think with this latest edition, No Man's Sky will finally get the recognition many people like myself think it deserves? Also, if this game would have been released in early access, do you think its public perception and reception would have been much better? Keep on keeping on. Maximus out.
Let's address the second part of this first.
Sure.
Early access. It would have been received a lot better because it's an early access game.
I agree. Expectations would have been aligned.
Yeah. By definition, if something gets released as early access or Game Pass or whatever you want to call it, you know it is not a finished game.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Oh, I think it's like this 1-2 punch with No Man's Sky, which was, when it came out, I think the game was good. Let's say it was feature lacking, but combined with the game being $60 and fine, coupled with Sean Murray being out there for months and months talking incorrectly about features that weren't in the game, I feel like there was almost no chance for that to be successful, as opposed to someone asking Sean Murray before the game comes out, hey, is there co-op? Hey, can I go find my friends? If he would have just said, not at launch, but that's something we're looking at implementing later, I think that would have done a world of difference. And it's a big part on why they just went completely radio silent. But
yeah,
that whole launch cycle with the game not having anything that they had promised, and that studio just disappearing for 2 years.
Well, it also doesn't help. It doesn't help that they had the marketing giant of Sony behind them, as Sony pushed this as the biggest deal ever, as being a PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Explore thousands of planets in the cosmos. Yeah.
They were an indie game that got some attention, some well-deserved attention, I think, based on what they were trying to build.
Yeah.
But then they got the marketing arm of Sony, but they didn't get the development arm of Sony. They just got the huge marketing budget to push your expectations beyond anything that could ever have been resolved.
And half of this, maybe not half, but a part of it is also Sony's fault, because they're still so stubborn about not allowing early access games on their platform, which doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. Like, I feel like early access is a term that most people that are going to play a game early are going to understand. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like the damage done to that game, to that studio, and to the gentleman himself, that was, like, I will put my hands up and say it was Sony's fault.
Sure. Because
they put the big budget behind the market and they picked it up and signed it to exclusivity. But then, if you have him going out and doing, I can't remember the guy's name, Sean Murray?
Yeah.
You have him going out and doing interviews based on the game. If you are Sony, you have an executive in that room with him.
Yeah.
Like a marketing exec at all times with a feature list of what is in the game right now. And when he starts talking about stuff like that, you tell him to shut up, to not talk about it, and to keep it zip, because it's not announced yet. And if it's not announced
afterwards,
yes, you have someone there to manage the message, because that's what you have to do if you're the one paying for that message to get out there, that this is the best thing that's ever been made ever. So get him in line. I don't like saying get an independent developer in line, but get your messaging organized, because what happened to this is essentially a one-game version of what happened to the Xbox One's original release.
Right.
Nobody was saying the same thing about it, and then the console suffered as a fault. Nobody was saying the same thing about No Man's Sky, and the game is widely regarded as a failure, despite the fact that I hear that a fair few people say it's a genuinely good thing to play.
Yeah.
It's just not what was promised, and that comes down to Sean and Sony not getting their heads together and making sure it was messaged correctly.
Yeah. Well, he also asked, do you think the game will get the recognition it deserves? I think it will, but it's always going to have that giant asterisk next to it, which is like, No Man's Sky is really good now. And, you know, it wasn't great at launch, and I know for a lot of people who are once bitten, twice shy, and you know, that and Destiny are sort of blood brothers in, yeah, it came out and eventually got good, but why would you stick around? Thankfully, No Man's Sky, the updates are all free. But, you know, for a lot of people, you play No Man's Sky for 8 to 20 hours. Somebody's very upset downstairs.
Yes. Is it your wife or your child?
It's my daughter. You know, you play No Man's Sky for a whole bunch of time, and you don't really get a lot out of it, so why would you pop it back in?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to get the recognition that people deserve it gets, because nothing does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in a world of 2018 where everything is negative and everyone is connected to the internet and hate is the only thing that seems to be popular these days, it's never going to get the rep it deserves. The only people who are going to give it the rep it deserves are the people who already had that opinion of it in the first place. So people who are willing to admit its faults and its positives at the same time. Elite Dangerous fanboys are the exact same way. We will preach to the high heavens about how great Elite Dangerous is. Most people will jump in that and be like, the tutorials are bad, the controls are terrible, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's impossible to play.
Yeah, it only takes 6 hours of video watching to get you to the point where you can fly a spaceship correctly.
Right.
But after that, the 1,200 hours are really, really great.
Yeah.
You know, people who love it are going to love it, and everybody else is just going to hate on it because that's the cool thing to do these days.
Well, and part of my frustration about No Man's Sky is I liked that game for being a game that, and I think this is very similar to what you guys enjoy Elite Dangerous for, you can play it and you can just relax. Like, it's it's a really great chill game. And I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. You know, price aside and whether or not you feel you got your value out of your $60, but I think there's something to be said for, yeah, I like firing up No Man's Sky every once in a while, and I've done that, you know, every couple of months I'll play for an hour or two, not long enough to talk about on the show, but I like chilling out with some space music and flying around my ship and meeting some cool aliens, and that's about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like if you don't launch the best game of all time forever every month, then you've failed, you know?
Yeah.
T-Mon Rocks in Discord asks a piggyback question. What's a game or game series that has done poorly or not met expectations on a platform that if brought to another platform with updates could do well? Boy, that's a good question.
Warframe? I think Warframe
has really turned it around. Not like it was ever bad, but like...
It was questionable at first.
It was very small.
Yeah. And then like by expanding the audience and releasing that on Xbox, and I believe now it's on PlayStation 4 as well.
It is,
Like, that game has been released on multiple platforms, given so many more people such a wider audience to it. And that thing is incredible.
It's coming on Switch at some point, too. Like, that's...
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I did not know. That's incredible.
For a free-to-play game, like, yeah, just put it on everything. Yeah. That's Fortnite's success.
Yeah. Wait for the mobile version of Warframe.
I don't know, if you can get Fortnite to work, then maybe you can get Warframe.
If you can get PUBG to work, you can get Warframe to work.
That's true. I was hoping this would happen with Destiny 2. You know, you take that game in a more complete version and you make it look really great and support higher frame rates and get mouse and keyboard, and it's unfortunately still Destiny 2.
Well, yeah. Destiny 2's biggest problem is the fact that it is Destiny 2.
Yeah.
There's that hate again.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of things that got ported but because the problem you run into is you see one of two things when it comes to ports or stuff like that. It's remasters of games that sell incredibly well.
Right.
I give you Skyrim on Alexa.
Right.
Or it's remasters of things that were cult classics, but then they're not given the love of a proper remaster. The Darksiders remasters, apparently really truthful. Red Faction, really truthful to the original, but have a fair few issues with the remastered versions.
And also, like, to piggyback on that, if you have a game that didn't do very well on one platform, I'm not entirely sure why you would pay a porting house or a remastering house to bring it to another platform when it already didn't do very well. You know, like the one counter I can see to that is the previous Tomb Raider game, where it was Xbox One exclusivity and came out on PS4, but they have enough money to have had that done earlier. I don't know. I feel like No Man's Sky is such a strange outlier. Like, for most studios, I don't think they would bother at this point.
No, I mean, that's the thing, is the only thing you see, like, generally speaking, with exclusivity on Xbox is the Game Pass stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's early access, so we know it's not going to go on Sony's platform until it's done, so when it comes out officially on the Xbox, that's when you might see it over on Sony, but by that point, the work's been done. Yeah. The game has been getting better the whole time. I really want Astroneer's update to drop sooner, because I want that thing to be full release already.
I'm sort of surprised they didn't, for No Man's Sky, I'm surprised they didn't put out some sort of demo, or at least put it on Game Pass for like 2 months or something, just to get people to actually try it out in its like newly updated state.
Well, now they've got the money to build their own hype train, so they don't have to worry about having Sony behind them anymore. Now they can do it themselves. Yeah. And it's a controversial topic, so if you're Sean and you call IGN and say, do you want to do an interview with me about No Man's Sky, which happens to be coming out next week, IGN are going to say yes, because the words No Man's Sky gets hits.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I hope it finds a good home on Xbox. I think it's a good game that keeps getting better, and I think this update looks really great. And at the very least, I hope that people who only have an Xbox One can at least try it out.
Yeah, my wife with a great point in chat, by the way. Maybe they're banking on people like me, hardcore Xboxers who don't listen to no PS4 nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a really good market, is people who don't, like, the brand loyalty thing is something to embrace. You embraced one side of it, now embrace the other side of it.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, everyone, for your questions this week. That's our episode. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv, not at pixels.com. That's another show. Everything, everywhere you can find us is on the right-hand side of the page, including Discord. Don't forget, this new Game Club game is Celeste, out on a whole bunch of stuff, including Switch. I picked it up on PS4. Seems like it works great so far. So, also, we're playing Celeste and not Celeste Classic, not the Pico 8 version.
Okay.
Just to clarify, that one's free. I mean, if you want to play that, but we're not going to be talking about that. patreon.com/E1M1, and the ones are numbers. $5 tier is the sweet spots. You can get the Old Dog New Flicks early access. A couple days after that will be the new Dynamic Soundtrack episode 6, 7, something like that. I don't know. I just do the show. I just work here. And don't forget Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Smashcast, all those places. Come find us, subscribe, and it will let you know when we go live. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
I have 3 long titles, and that's really it.
I got a lot of little ones.
Okay. As is, we'll go with you first.
As usual?
Yes.
I think we used Jelly last week, so we can't use it again this week.
We did, yeah. What was the Jelly title?
Jelly of My Wife.
Yeah.
Git Good Noob. Spelled G-I-T. Git Good Noob.
Of course.
In traditional sense. Sherpa becomes the Sherpie. Tome, not Tomb.
Oh, that's a good one.
The loot scales up. Cook and bucket. What's that? I don't even know what that says. Too much goodness.
That sounds like something we'd say.
Yeah. No Man's Sky gets hits, and I just work here.
I have one of them discovered germs.
That's really good.
Yeah. A cat jumping on my face, 100 sharks jump out of a plane, and then Tome, not Tomb, and Cook it and Book it. Grip it and rip it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brain Eater says it needs to be Tome, not Tomb.
He's biased in this case because that's a direct rib against Justin. That's exactly why he wants it. Don't get me wrong, I agree completely because it's hilarious listening to playing Rat Game 2 with him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you found a tomb. Did I?
Nope. No, you did not. Any ones you feel strongly about? Tome, not Tomb, maybe?
Yeah, Tome, not Tomb, kind of. It's a good-natured joke, and it's also very, very snappy and punchy.
I like it. My hair is going crazy. It's like super flip. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 561 for July 23rd, 2018. Tome, not Tomb.
Books, not graves.
The name of my indie band. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
See ya.